Hey guys, it's Caleb, and these are my notes from today, April 19th, which is a Sunday. So we're going to jump right in. When people look at Christians, do they see risk takers? Is that what we are? The four Gospels are called theological biographies, right? And each one of them have a different type of niche, I guess. So you realize that each eyewitness account has a particular something to them. Like, for example, Matthew is particularly really talking to the Jewish people, which we'll read into today. You can tell a lot of the time that he's talking to them because of like the tone that he speaks. He wants people to know that Jesus was connected to King David and was built around, the five sermons that Jesus gave. One of the other things that's cool about Matthew, there's like this story of the Jewish Messiah, is the way that he talks about the apostle Peter. Among the disciples, Peter almost has a preference, and he sticks out in pretty much all the stories that's going through this book of Matthew and about Jesus and the disciples. He has Peter being present in conversation and action and all the stories, and that's what we'll read about today. So we're going to read Matthew 14:22 through 33 and NRSV UE. Immediately he made the disciples get into a boat and go on ahead to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And after he dismissed the crowds, he went up to the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. But by this time the boat, battered by the waves, was far from the land, for the wind was against them. And early in the morning he came walking toward them on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified, saying, "It's a ghost!" And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them and said, "Take heart, it is I, do not be afraid." Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out the boat, started walking on the water, and came toward Jesus. But then he noticed the strong wind and became frightened, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" When they got into the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." So let's set the scene here. This is right before Jesus had fed the 5,000, and now he's on the mountain praising his Father, and he's sending his disciples on the boat to cross, and Matthew says that there's this just terrible storm, right? This is a crazy storm. Matthew says that it's torment, but Jesus shows up walking on the water, and they think he's a ghost. Jesus calls out, "Don't be afraid," and as Matthew tells the story, Peter is enthusiastic. All these things he could say in the moment, but Peter says, "If it is you, command me to walk to you." So he does. So he's finding footing on the waves. The storm is just blowing through his hair, and he's walking on the water, and all of a sudden it's just too much. So there's so much going wrong that his courage cracks. But, he's been walking, but now his faith slows down. This is crazy, like this is impossible. Then his fear takes over, and he just starts sinking. We see in 31, it says, Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" So Peter got that close to Jesus. He asked, "Why do you doubt?" It's a gentle rebuke. As Jesus reached out his hand and catches him, I guess together they walked back to the boat, and then the disciples worshiped Jesus. The story, we usually focus on Peter's failure, but today we talk about his risks, suggesting risks have values. I'd suggest that risk has value in our faith. Our faith sometimes has the equivalent of a glass of warm milk, right? Many things God asks of us has risks, and it's difficult. For example, tithing. It's when we talk about it, it's kind of a sensitive subject because it's so difficult. It doesn't matter how put together you are, it's hard to give so much away. You're supposed to give away a tenth. So what about we give your time to others for God? That's scary. What about forgiving people, the 70 times 7? Step by step, you be out of the boat and fear can get to you, but you still have to keep walking with God. So fix your eyes on Jesus, the author and protector of faith. Whatever the risks are, however you're practicing faith, Jesus is there to protect you, and you're granted it's safer in the boat, but then you'll never walk on the water and you'll never experience some of these things. You'll never have the experience of him saving you if you don't leave your comfort zone. Jesus saves, and I wonder, does he have like adrenaline? This is a question that the pastor was talking about, and I was honestly thinking about it as well. Does he get excited when he hears his followers like Peter in the text say, "Command me," or "Whatever I can do for you, Jesus," because Jesus invites him to do something crazy, and maybe he'll invite you for the same. All you have to do is open up your Bible, and you'll find people who take risks. Noah built an ark. David picked up a stone for a sling. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John leave their homes and they follow. These are all risks, but people look at this and like, what do they think? Do they think that we are risk takers? So if you think, what would you do differently if you redid your life? A lot of people would say they would want more risks. A lot of people would say they want to be closer to Jesus. Maybe we need to take more risks with Jesus to get closer to him. It's obviously not perfect. I'm nowhere near the pastor level, and he explained this a lot better than I ever could. But I hope that something from today stuck out to somebody, and you guys have some type of takeaway from today. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, don't forget to pray today.